Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 10:17. Our next case is Mr. Freddie L. Douglas. Mr. Douglas, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Freddie Douglas, 631670.
Mr. Douglas, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and then we'll conduct a parole interview with you. At the end of that parole interview, you'll have an opportunity to make a statement to the board before we vote. You understand our process, sir?
Yes, sir.
This is Freddie L. Douglas, DOC number 631670. Date of birth, May the 13th of 1955. He's classified as a first-time felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of October the 19th of 2017. He's not eligible for good time, and he has a full-term date of October the 21st of 2027. He is currently serving a 15-year sentence on the charge of indecent behavior with a juvenile. Mr. Douglas, is all of that information accurate?
Yes.
This is Ms. Jackson's here. Your case has been assigned to Ms. Bonnie Jackson. Would you please answer any questions she might have?
Good morning, Mr. Douglas. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. No.
I understand. How old are you, Mr. Douglas?
I'm 67.
When do you make 68?
68.
I don't know how old you are. You tell me how old you are.
I'm 68. May 13th, 55.
Okay. And you
I'm a little
have,
nervous right now.
well, I'm asking you the easy questions right now, so you don't have to be nervous.
Okay.
How old you are, that's a pretty easy question. Okay.
Okay.
How much time have you served on this charge?
Well, it's going this year going on 11 years.
So over 10 years, but not quite 11. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Now, the victim in this case was your 8-year-old step granddaughter. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Douglas, I do need to talk to you about the circumstances of this case, what you did. And so I need you to tell us what you did. Why are you in prison right now?
What I did, well, I touched my granddaughter in the wrong way.
Well, you did a little bit more than touch her. You actually penetrated her vaginally and anally.
Correct.
Well, I'm glad to see that you're acknowledging that you did that, because when you talk to the sex offender assessment panel, you denied that you had done anything, and you said that you're remorseful for what happened to you and this little girl.
I am remorseful.
I understand that, but your first area of remorse was you said, I didn't do anything and I'm remorseful about what happened to me. But today you acknowledge that you had inappropriate sexual contact with your 8-year-old step granddaughter. Is that correct?
Correct.
Have you completed all 4 phases of sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
So you did 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to hear from you what you learned from that program. What you learn about yourself, what you learn about what would cause you to commit this against the child. So I want to hear what you got out of the sex offender program that helps you understand how you could have done this really terrible thing to this little girl. So tell us about what you've learned in your sex offender treatment.
Well, I learned that I had a problem, and my behavior wasn't, all that good because I was under the influence of substance and but I'm not that person no more.
No, I want to jump to that right now. I'm trying to get a picture. Most people don't look at an 8-year-old girl and have sexual intentions towards an 8-year-old little girl. They just don't see children that way. So
Right.
why do you think you were sexually attracted to an 8-year-old little girl?
Well, I really don't know why that happened the way it happened. I'm just being honest because I never done anything like that. And that never entered my mind like that at that, I don't know why it just came up at that moment like that. But I'm pretty sure it won't happen again.
Well, part of something not happening again is understanding why it happened in the first place. Follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
And according to the victim, this wasn't a one-time incident. It happened more than one time over the course of a summer. And so it wasn't like a one-time incident. It was something that happened more than one time.
Correct.
Let me ask you this. I want you to explain to me how you think what happened to her affected her.
Well, I'm pretty sure she's going through some changes in her life, and I'm sorry about that. That the damage I've done to her, and it's just unexplainable to me right now. Why it happened the way it happened, but I just feel bad about it.
So she was 8 then, so she would be around 19 or 20 right now. How do you think that's affected her relationship with her grandmother or with, boyfriends? How do you think being molested as a child has affected her ability to have healthy relationships with people?
Correct. How do I think?
Yeah, how do you think it's affected her ability to have healthy relationships with people?
Well, I do think that she having problems, and I think she do think back on what happened to her. It's not something that she's gonna forget. I'm pretty sure of that. So, I'm sorry about that. And
Well, let me ask you this: when the situation came to light, about when it all came out, what
Right.
had happened, did her grandmother believe her?
did her grandmother believe her? I don't know. Well, I'm pretty sure she did. I'm pretty sure she did believe her.
Were you married to her grandmother, or were you all just living together?
I'm married, we're married.
All right, and so when it all came to light, what did the grandmother say to you about it?
Well, she asked me about it.
And what did you tell her?
I denied it.
Okay, and did she believe you when you denied it?
No, she didn't believe me.
Sometimes when a victim reports something and a family member doesn't believe it, that just compounds the damage that's done. So I'm glad the grandmother didn't take your side. I think that would have been even worse for her. Are you divorced?
No,
Do you have any contact or relationship with your wife?
yes, we do talk.
Are y'all planning, whenever you get out, are y'all planning to resume your marriage?
Well, she want to, but I'm thinking that's gonna be impossible. Because the circumstances that situation I'm in, dealing with her grandbaby, so I'm pretty sure she gonna be wanna come around and that's gonna be a violation on me. So
And also, it would certainly affect her relationship with her grandmother if her grandmother went back to the man who molested her.
yeah, well, so that's what I'm saying.
Fine.
I'm pretty much gonna tell her, well, she already knows that we're gonna be separated.
Well, I'm glad that you have that insight to understand that it's not a good idea for you
Right.
and her to be together, given, the circumstances of this crime. What did they teach you in sex offender treatment about how to avoid putting yourself in situations that might cause you to reoffend? What are some things that you learned about how not get yourself in this same position again?
Well, we have they have three martyrs. You have lower, medium, high. So I'm pretty much gonna try to stay in the zero mode.
Okay, but what are some things you should avoid? That's what I'm trying, what did they teach you that you should avoid so that you don't find yourself back in the same situation?
Well, to avoid being around the victim, any child by themselves in the restroom, anything like that by themselves, that's a high risk. And so I'm trying to avoid that. All high risk areas, situation, I'm gonna avoid that. So forgive me, I was talking because
That's right. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Did they go over with you the requirements that will be on you as a sex offender once you are released?
yes, I have to register
And what else?
and I have to be on parole.
There's certain places you can't go.
Yes, certain places like apartments, parks,
Certain places you can't live.
right? Apartments, you can't. I can't live in an apartment unless I have to pay the whole apartment.
But you can't live within a certain distance.
Certain area, the school area.
And that can be pretty tough to follow.
Well, I can live in the country. My parents, my parents and uncles have land in the country, away from the city.
What do you call the country?
The country,
Where?
in Mount Pleasant, Louisiana.
Okay. You have a good disciplinary record. You've only had 5 write-ups. Your last write-up was in October of 2018. That was a 30C. You remember what that was about?
I was passing a extra tray to a guy and I didn't supposed to. A lunch tray, I gave my extra tray.
What's your job at the prison?
Right now, I was currently working in the kitchen. Right now, I'm on crew 1.
Okay, and did you stop working in the kitchen because of the write-up?
No. They put me out of there for some reason. I don't know.
Okay,
I really don't know that what I'm getting out of it is I'm getting too aggressive with the employees because they was messing with me and instead of getting a write-up, they just put me on crew 1.
What do you do on crew 1?
Well, right now we don't go out on the field because when we do go out on the field, that's crew 1. We go out there and work the field.
Well, you say you plan to live in the country,
Yes.
and who would you be living with?
Well, my aunt have a house, an empty house that my uncle used to stay in, and he passed away, so it's gonna need a little work. So that's my plan.
What kind of job skills do
Go
you
fix
have?
the house up.
What kind of job skills do you have? How are you going to support yourself?
Well, I can get my Social Security, start my Social Security, and my job skills is rebuilding houses and remodeling construction. That's what I do, rebuild houses.
Is that what you did before you
No.
came to prison?
Yes.
Okay. I see that in addition to the sex offender treatment, I show that you were enrolled at the time of your application. You were enrolled in Thinking for a Change, Living in Balance, Victim Awareness, and Parenting. Have you completed all those programs?
Well, one of them I'm still in, and the rest of them on backlog. So I'm waiting to get into those. Victim Aware, I'm in that right now. So
How long have you been in Victim Awareness?
14 weeks right now.
How long does Victim Awareness last? Pretty long program.
7 months.
Okay. And some of the things we talked about relating to the victim, I assume you learned about that in Victim Awareness, how your crime affected her life. That's probably something you all covered in Victim Awareness as well. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a good institutional record. You are low risk. You've done Cage Your Rage and Celebrate Recovery. So you talked about alcohol, being under the influence of alcohol. Are you an alcoholic?
No, I'm not.
What's an alcoholic?
Well, alcoholic is just, they got to have it every day, all day. I was drinking occasionally.
What did you call occasionally?
Once I get off of work, I'll probably give me a case of beer. And that'll last a week or so.
Okay, so you drink every day after work.
Yes.
There are people called functional alcoholics. They do all right, during the week, And then on the weekends or at night, that's when they do their drinking.
Well, see, I don't drink on my job. See, that's when I do my drinking.
I understand that.
Right.
So what did you learn in Celebrate Recovery?
Well, celebrate recovery. I learned that, let me think.
That's a substance abuse class, right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
So what'd you learn?
Oh, I learned so much. You got so much going on.
Well, let me just ask you a couple questions.
I got to think back on that.
So
I learned that,
go ahead.
I got to get it together here.
All right, I know you're nervous.
I'm aware that, I am a victim of, I admit that,
Okay, we'll kind of move on to slightly different area. When you told me initially that you were under the influence when you committed these acts against the victim. Didn't you say that to begin with?
yes,
Well, if being under the influence of alcohol would cause you to molest an 8-year-old girl, then it seems to me you ought to realize that alcohol is a problem.
well, see, that's what I'm saying now. I will not drink anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you
I
said.
said, I will not drink anymore.
Everybody says that in jail. Everybody says that. But my concern is you don't understand that you don't have to drink all day, every day to be an alcoholic.
Okay.
Warren, what can you tell us about Mr. Douglas and why is he on, why was he removed from the kitchen?
I don't know why he was moved in the kitchen. It was back in March. Judge Jackson, I don't know what the reason was. The record doesn't indicate it, and I'm just not familiar with that. But as far as his conduct at the institution, he's only had 5 write-ups. He's, he's done well disciplinary wise since he's been here. His record on his crime and his programming and other things pretty well speaks for itself. And I don't really have anything to say on that, Ms. Jackson, but I can find out why he's removed if you give me a time to make a couple of phone calls. But I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, well, if you get that before we vote, then I would appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
If not, we'll do without it. So you're on backlog for living in balance. Did you complete Thinking for a Change?
I haven't even got into that class yet.
So you're on
Back
backlog
on it.
for Thinking for a Change, Living in Balance and Parenting. And you're currently enrolled in Victim Awareness. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have children?
Yes, ma'am.
How many?
4, 2 boys and 2 girls.
And do you have any contact with them or any relationship with them?
Yes, they chat with me on the phone and text me.
Okay. Have they come to visit you?
No, I don't want them to visit me.
That's because you don't want them to come.
Right.
Let me ask,
I don't want.
have you been honest with your children about what
Yes.
you did?
yes, they know.
And so you admitted to them you had done what you were accused of doing.
Right. Everybody knows now.
You
My
have
whole
grand,
family know, I deeply regret all that, the hurt I done to everybody, because I'm not the only one, the victim not the only one. I have heard a lot of people about my action, my bad decision. But like I said, I'm not that person no more.
do you have grandchildren?
Yes, I do.
How many?
Right now, before I came here, it was 2. So I don't know how many they got now.
Your children haven't told you whether or not
Well,
they.
you know, my son had a boy,
Mhm.
and my daughter, she had a boy. That's before I left.
Right,
Now, they haven't told me anything else different.
and where do they live? Your children,
Well, I have no idea where they live.
you don't know what city your children live in?
Well, yeah, in Shreveport. I thought you were talking about the address and stuff.
No. All 4 of your children live in Shreveport?
Yeah, I have one of my daughters stay in Houston.
Okay. And do your grandchildren live in Shreveport?
Yes,
Both of them?
yes.
All right. Ms. Maribel, that's all I have. Thank you.
I have one question. Mr. Douglas, I really want you to be honest with me. Typically, individuals who get caught for doing what you did, they've done it multiple times before.
Man,
Is that the situation with you? Individuals who get caught doing what you did, historically, they have done it several times before. Is that the case with you? That was not the first child you touched. Is what I'm asking. Is that the first and only child you touched?
yes,
That's
Yeah.
your statement. And for her entire summer, you touched her that entire summer
yeah,
when they was dropped off at the house for various reasons.
yes,
Your statement today is that's the only child you ever touched inappropriately.
yes.
You feel good about saying that?
No, man, I don't feel good about it. You know, I'm just answering your question. And I'm trying to be direct and give you an honest answer. I'm not trying to,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because you gotta own
I'm
it.
not trying to,
You gotta own it. That's the only way you can move forward. That's the only way the family can move forward. That's the only way the victim can move forward. It's for you to own it, accept responsibility for what
Feel
you do.
good, that's an honest, truthful answer. Do you feel good? That's an honest, truthful.
Yeah, that was my,
That's what you mean. So you feel good with that answer?
and thank you, Ward.
You're
That's,
honest with
yeah.
it. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
all right, thank you. I appreciate that. But everybody can move forward when you start being honest and own what you were. I was that yesterday, but today I'm this.
That's
Go
what
and own who you was yesterday. You know,
Yes,
in
ma'am.
my example here. Okay, all right, that's all I had, Jim.
Thank you, Ms. West. Mr. Douglas, is there anything you'd like to say before the panel votes?
Yes, like I said before, I have changed and I don't think that way anymore. And I wish the society accept me back into the system. Also, I will talk to others that have bad choices and that I can recognize that they going the wrong way. I can talk to them and try to guide them right and not making bad decisions. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas.
Ms. Jackson, we checked with Colonel Tolliver, he said that it was due to a poor attitude of staff. They got reassigned versus getting a disciplinary report, they reassigned him from that job because of poor attitude of staff.
So Mr. Douglas, what was your poor attitude?
Well, it was like this. I was a kitchen orderly, and you have some people I'm cleaning. You got some people study throwing stuff down while I'm cleaning. So I'm asking them not to do it, but to continue on doing it. So that's more work. More work I gotta do what I just did. So, you know, I was getting mad.
Okay, so how did you display your anger?
I asked them not to. I mean, I was showing them that I was getting angry, but I didn't get physical. I was just showing my anger. That's all. I wasn't gonna get physical.
All right, thank you.
And ready to vote?
All right, Mr. Douglas, this was a terrible crime, and I think you realize it's a terrible crime. Something that no child should ever have to experience. You're a first offender. You served almost 11 years of a 15-year sentence. I was glad today to hear that you are taking full responsibility. You admitted what you actually did. And you didn't try to, sit here and tell the board you hadn't done what you were accused of doing. I also thought that it showed a lot of insight on your part to recognize that it is not a good idea for you and the victim's grandmother to be in a relationship. That would be very detrimental to that young woman. And I'm glad to see that you have that level of understanding and recognition. I'm glad to hear that you have some place to live in a more remote area that would remove you from being around that young lady, so she wouldn't have to run into you from time to time. You've only had 5 write-ups. You've got a good institutional record. Your risk is low. So my vote today would be to grant conditionally upon completion of thinking for a change, living in balance, and parenting.
Thank you.
And then upon release, I'm going to add a condition that you attend at least 2 AA or NA meetings per week for the duration of your supervision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Wise?
Mr. Douglas, I'm concerned about you, but I'm gonna concur with my colleague. My vote is the same for the same reasons already stated.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Douglas, I agree with my colleagues. The nature of your offense is always troublesome to me. But I think you had a pretty good interview today. I think you made some real decisions about your life. I think you're thinking that. And I agree with my colleagues. My vote would be to grant conditionally upon your completing thinking for change, living in balance, and parenting class, and a special condition once you're released, at least 2 AA meetings per week. So that's our vote. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.